Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me via video for our second week of ICL 4800 seminar. Thanks to the ice storm of 2026, we cannot be there in person, but we are able to provide you updates and reminders and a brief overview of what have been discussed in class via this recording. So I hope everyone is safe and warm and that sometime here soon we'll be able to return to our placements and our regular scheduled life. But hopefully you're getting some rest and taking some time to just relax and get ready for the remainder of residency. So I'm going to jump into the video first with a few reminders and updates so that everyone is aware of what is coming up. When the supervisors met this past week, the first reminder that we said we have to stress to candidates is to schedule the first formal evaluation with your supervisor, POP Cycle 1. Remember, your POP cycle includes a pre-conference as well as a post-conference. So when you're scheduling your formal evaluations, please consider both. This semester, there are 4 formal evaluations, 4 POP cycles, and the goal is to have this done before TCAP and end of the year testing. That generally starts to occur around the second week of April. So supervisors are on a strict schedule to get all 4 of these pop cycles done and complete by the first or second week of April. If you have not already scheduled your first evaluation, you must speak with your supervisor as soon as possible to get that scheduled. Also remember there is one informal mentor-teacher evaluation that also occurs this semester, and you will find that to be done by spring break. Speak with your supervisor concerning that as well. So technically there's 5 evaluations that we're struggling to get done before mid-April. Please, if you have not already started this process, speak with your supervisors as soon as possible. Thank everyone who submitted a survey of your experience in workshop 1. Based on the results, it appears that it was a great success. Not only were you all engaged in the content that was shared, but also you enjoyed the format, the rotation schedule that we created for workshop 1. Thank you again for providing the feedback. It is valuable as we go ahead and start to prepare for future workshops. Actually, our next workshop is going to be on Tuesday, February the 10th, and the topic is going to be expectations for student success, and the emphasis is going to be on all things special education. So we have a panel that we have formed that are going to ask and answer questions about SPED, inclusion, differentiation, modification, 504s, IEPs, the whole 9 yards, anything dealing with special education. And we'll also have a mock IEP meeting for you all to observe. Now, we want every candidate to submit a question for the panel. That question can be submitted in Canvas via a survey link. We're asking that you do that by Thursday, January the 29th. And lastly, remember, next week is a pause and reflect week. We strategically place it here at week 3 because we want you to not only concentrate on the first pop cycle, but remember with week 3, you're starting to teach 1 lesson per day, which is 5 lessons for the week. And so you should be planning those lesson plans and getting those uploaded and sent over to your supervisor. So we want to make sure that you have time to do that. So please keep all of that in mind. Okay, here you will find the upcoming tasks and assignments that are to be complete within the next week. It is our hope that you will find in Canvas the introduction to the digital portfolio video that should be posted Wednesday mid-afternoon. And it's going to provide an overview of that final culminating project, which is your day 1 ready teaching portfolio. This is for presentations to stakeholders, future employers, and also the reverse job fair that we have scheduled at the end of the semester as well. So that should be posted online in Canvas by Wednesday afternoon. So we want you to take a look at that. By Monday, you have two assignments that are due in regard to today's topic, the article as well as the long reading. First is a discussion post based on the reflection is at the heart of practice, the article that we have listed here in the syllabus. So that discussion post asks you to respond to a prompt. Your initial response is due by Friday evening. And then I'm asking you to review everyone's initial post and find two of your peers to respond to. More in-depth details are in the discussion post, but the final assignment is due on Monday. That includes your initial post as well as your two peer responses. The second assignment has to do with a check-in quiz from the long reading. It includes a few multiple choice questions as well as three short response prompts that we want you to respond to as well. This will be in place of a participation grade, being that we were not able to meet in person. So both assignments, when complete, will give you full credit in terms of participation for this class period. Also, as a reminder, also due on next Monday is the Dear Future Teacher letter. And that's where you write a letter to the future teacher yourself. And so again, details of that assignment is in Canvas. It's due Monday by 11:59. So just make sure that you're keeping abreast of all the assignments and tasks that we're asking you to do. Not listed here, but remember, we're also asking you by Thursday to upload a survey link to the questions you will have for our SPED panel. So just remember that as well. And you see there we have listed the pre-assessment. That's just a reminder. If you're not able to do that because of the weather, no worries. We will take care of that and discuss that further when we return to our regularly scheduled programming. So I wanted to share my thoughts on. So now you are asked to participate in a discussion in regards to the article Reflection is at the Heart of Practice. I am asking each one of you to respond to this question. Which step of the reflection process do you find most challenging? Remember, the authors provided a 5-step process or protocol that helps to guide reflection. Of the steps, which do you find most challenging? Is it describing without judgment, interpreting meaning, or changing your instructional practice? Once you have identified your biggest challenge, explain why. And I would like for you to support your explanation with a specific classroom moment. Your initial post is due by Friday, January 30th at 11:59 p.m. The second part of the discussion is for you to respond to your peers' post. So you can respond to at least two classmates. If you want to respond to more, you're certainly welcome to do so. But in your response, I want you to consider one of the following. I want you to extend their thinking by offering an example of your own, or you may ask a clarifying question that deepens the reflection process. Or you may share a strategy that may help them to apply the protocol more efficiently. Please avoid responses such as, I agree, or good job. Remember, academic feedback. We want you to provide in-depth feedback to help move the conversation forward. Remember, reflection is only as powerful as what is shared. Your response to your peers is also due Monday, February the 2nd at 11:59 p.m. The primary textbook for this semester, Residency 2, is The First Days of School, How to Be an Effective Teacher, written by Harry and Rosemary Wong. This book has been around for ages. It was first written in 1991, and I remember being a first year teacher in 1997 when my mentor gifted me this book. And it really helped me with that first week, the first days of school, actually the first year of school. And so this is one of the reasons why we chose or selected this textbook, because there are some great strategies and guidance in the textbook. What we want you to really take away from the first 3 chapters is highlighted actually on page 2 in the introduction. There you will find this statement: the single greatest effect on student learning and achievement is the effectiveness of the teacher. And that's kind of a given. But what does one have to do to become an effective teacher? And what are the characteristics of an effective teacher? And so Wong and Wong outline or highlight 3 characteristics of an effective teacher, and that's found on page 6. And it deals with having positive expectations for student success, being a great classroom manager, and designing lessons designed for student mastery. So I know you all have read this already, and we're going to discuss this more in depth when we come back together in person. But the 3 characteristics according to Wong and Wong are there for you on page 6. Again, this was written in 1991, so of course research has occurred since then and developed, and there are numerous lists of what one may deem as characteristics of an effective teacher, but I would say that the 3 that are highlighted here are great characteristics that one should achieve. And of course, the effectiveness of the teacher has a direct impact on student achievement. Part of being an effective teacher is being consistent and having those procedures in place. So it was our hope that the first day of class of school in Residency 1, you were able to attend and observe what your mentor teachers had in place in terms of routines, procedures, but also how that impacted student behavior and ultimately student performance, because those procedures done and implemented consistently really have an impact on student behavior. A successful classroom, according to the authors, the students are well treated, the classroom is well managed, and the lessons are well delivered. And you can find that on page 7. How the first days of school shape the entire year is evident. How you start, most times, as you've heard probably a dozen times, is how you end. So it's key that you place emphasis on that first day, that first week of school. The text suggests that you have a plan or a script. I don't know how you all feel about a script, and maybe your mentor teacher had one in place and you were able to observe that, but they definitely had a plan. And as the author suggests, make sure you have a plan B. Another key component of the text that is stressed and that we actually will elaborate on further along in the semester is the classroom management piece. And there's a difference. There is a distinct difference between classroom management and discipline. And so an effective teacher is a great manager of the classroom. And so that has a direct impact on student behavior and student outcomes in terms of behavior and off-task behavior as well. So there are a few things that we want to highlight. Again, when we come together, the text is one that can give you great guidance and great strategies as you prepare for that first day and that first week of school. So that concludes week 2 video. Thank you all for hanging in there with me with the audio issues. I know there were some ups and downs and maybe some technical issues once this has finished processing. So I thank you for your patience and your grace. If you know me, I'm not a fan of video recordings, but as educators, we do what we have to do, monitor and adjust. That is the life of an educator. But thank you again for listening. If you have any questions, concerns, or if there's anything you may need clarity on, you always know that you can reach out to me, shoot me an email, or even you can send a message through Canvas. I'll get it there. Otherwise, I look forward to reading your submissions from the discussion post as well as the check-in quiz. And remember, I won't see you next week, but I will see you the week of February the 10th. And I look forward to it. So you all stay safe, stay warm, and enjoy the rest of your week.